Shabbat Shalom, Susan. Shabbat Shalom, David. Michelle. Margot. Jim. Sheila.
I was envious you met them.
You were envious?
Well, I mean, wow, you met
Gloria Steinem was extraordinary.
Was she?
Absolutely.
You had like just a little chat or something?
She's very chill.
Really?
She doesn't need to, she was herself. She was nice, normal, lovely. It was very cute because, Sally was very excited to meet her.
So she never met her either. I thought maybe.
No, and they both wanted to meet each other. They both wanted to meet each other. So when Gloria came in, Sally is her walker, Gloria is her king. And Sally and I were sitting down, and she said to Gloria, "You're supposed to sit here." And she sat Gloria right down, and they just talked and talked. They had a really nice time. It was very special. I gotta get a different photo. It really was special. They knew of each other. That's why they were excited to meet. But they had
Because what I didn't hear you.
they knew of each other.
Yeah.
And they were excited to meet, but never had met. It was really wonderful. It was so special. It was really nice.
Yeah. I was my favorite story from way back. She had come to us once and said church meeting to a meeting. And we loved everything. Oh, yes. And she had just been that day.
She
She had just been with her. I think that's before me. Then I love the story she said. Famous women's movement people. And she said, Sally said, she was talking about shoes and where you put these cool shoes. Remember one? I did Sally laugh. I love that story. Did not forget if it was her or Bella. Whatever, I'll ask her one day, she'll remember.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Monmouth Reformed Temple. Those who are here in the sanctuary and who are joining us on live stream. I'm on the Bima tonight with, I guess starting tomorrow. Are you incoming? What's your title, Margot?
Incoming president-elect.
Incoming president-elect of Monmouth Reformed Temple. On the Bima, Margot Hassan. If you don't know Margot, you should know Margot, and you should ask her Uncle Bernie stories. They're excellent. And I'm also being accompanied by Dr. Peter Isherwood. And we're grateful to have you tonight, Peter. Next week, we expect a very large crowd. We have over 150 people who have RSVP'd to welcome our new rabbi, Rabbi Renee Edelman. I'm sincerely excited about the response that we have to welcome her, and really looking forward to that. If you want to come to the service and can't come to the dinner or RSVP, that's fine. You can come to the service without an RSVP. Just need to RSVP for the dinner. Our prayer is going to start on page 129 with the singing of Dodi Lee. Dodi Lee is one of the love poems from our tradition from Song of Songs. My beloved is mine and I am my beloved. And on Shabbat, our tradition tells us that there's an image of God uniting both sides of God, masculine and feminine, together. So the feminine side is the bride of Shabbat, and the love songs that we can sing on Shabbat are about that union the Kabbalistic tradition has taught us. turn the other way in our prayer book to page 121, and we invite up Margot to help lead us in the Shabbat candle blessings.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. On the seventh day God finished the work that God had been doing, and God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all work of creation that God had done.
Okay, you can take a cup. It's not really the good stuff. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom tehillah lemikra'ei kodesh zeicher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu achata v'otanu kidasha mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadosh Shabbat. Amen. Chaim. Thank you, Margot. We continue on page 146 with our call to worship. Please rise. Baruch hu et Adonai, Amevorach. Baruch Adonai, Amevorach le'olam va'ed. Okay, let's practice our Hebrew on page 148. Together we read, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv arabim, v'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim, v'mishmorotehem barakia kirtsono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, umavir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uben layla, Adonai tzevaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. On the bottom, page 150, we read together. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us the Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael. וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Let's read together on the bottom of page 156. All this we hold to be true and trustworthy for us. You alone are God, and we are Israel, your people. You are our sovereign and Savior, who deliver us from oppressors' hands and saves us from tyrants' fists. You work wonders without number, marvels beyond count. You give us life and steady our footsteps. You perform miracles for us before Pharaoh, signs and wonders in the land of the Egyptians. You led your people Israel out from their midst to freedom for all time. While children witnessed your dominance, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously. Page 158. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'a Yisrael. page 161, on the left-hand corner, we read together. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For you are true protection. For with you are true protection and safety. And in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. On page 162, the people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, just like everyone here tonight, observing Shabbat through the ages for a covenant for all time. It is a sign between me and the people of Israel, for in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lazot et ha-Shabbat, v'dorotam b'rit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lazot et ha-Shabbat, v'dorotam b'rit olam. Page 165. Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. We rise for our Amidah prayer on page 164 as we go through the pages of this prayer. Adonai sevataytita uviyagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Am I in the right key still? Okay. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanara, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Karnei Hakol, V'Zoher Chasdemot V'Imahot, Nevi Gula Livnei V'Neihem, L'man Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, B'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Michei Kol Atah, Rab Nehoshia, Morid Atah, Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechayei Hakol B'Rachamim Rabim, Zomich Noflim Dofei Vodim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayim Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. You are holy, your name is holy. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Please be seated. Page 173, we read together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. We are on page 177, top left-hand corner. Together. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, the awareness of soul, our life within, the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, u'lecha na'eh lehodot. And on page 178, we sing together our song of peace. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim La'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim La'olam. Ki atah melech Adon, lechol hashalom. Ki atah melech Adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim La'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim La'olam. V'tov b'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael, b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim La'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim La'olam. Tasim La'olam. Tasim La'olam. We pray silently. Shalom. time in our service, we move to the section where we read from the Torah. All of us in this congregation are very used to reading Torah on Friday night, but truthfully, it's a huge innovation. If you look at the span of Jewish history, Torah was traditionally read 3 days. Does anyone know what the 3 days were? Or if you know one, it's good. Thursday, Monday, and Saturday. Okay. And it was read Monday and Thursday. Okay, so I think there's legitimate argument for precedent as to why we read it on Friday, and I'm going to make it now. So it was read on Monday and Thursday, very practically speaking, because people went to the marketplace then. So while you were at the store, they had a worship service, they read Torah. You know, you traded your butter for your egg, whatever you did, and you got your Torah, and you had your read. And Saturday was Shabbos, and we read Torah. That always was what we were supposed to do. Now, the Reformed Jews in the 1800s, the emerging Reformed Jews, are the people who preceded us. In Germany, they created a worship tradition where the main service was on Friday because many of them were business people and shopkeepers, and they weren't Shomer Shabbat, and they were going to open their store on Saturday morning. So this way they could have Torah on Friday night, and they would get a Torah service, and keep the tradition of reading Torah. So for the same reason it was read on Monday and Thursday is in some ways the same reason we put the innovation in to have it on Friday nights, because it fit better into our lives, because Saturday was still a day of work. So, but we also read Torah here on Saturday, and and we don't usually read Torah here on Monday and Thursday. But if you want to start doing that, let me know. I know, we're just going to get blown away with the desire to do that. So if you could turn to page 364, and we rise for our Torah service. Susharim Roshechem v'chinasu pitche olam v'yavo melech hakavod mehu ze melech hakavod Adonai Tzevot u'melech hakavod Zela u'melech hakavod Zela Zela Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Lecha Adonai Hagedula Hagevura V'Hatiferet V'Hanitzach V'Hahod Ki hol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz Ki hol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz Lecha Adonai hamalachot Amina oseh lechol rosh Al shlosha devarim Al shlosha devarim Al shlosha devarim for the honor of the blessing of the Torah, we call up Mrs. Levitt, Sheila, one of our most beloved people, member of choir, former teacher in our religious school, a member past president of our synagogue. And how long have you and Jim been members for?
Well, I was here first.
Okay. How long? How many?
I don't know, I think it's like 48 years.
Oh, 48. That's a multiple of 18.
Oh.
Right? Is that correct? No? Oh, sorry.
Oh, whatever, it's a long time.
See, that's why negotiating contracts with me has always been a pleasure for this synagogue. That's right. That's okay. I'll give you another.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just like to make sure I know it. Here comes Harry to the rescue.
It's all right. Here you go.
Thank you, Harry.
Okay, if you'd like to follow along, you could follow along on page 1145. Oh, well, I'm going to do my 18 times tables. Oh, well. Go ahead, Mrs. Levin.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Ambarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Just remembering where I'm stopping. Okay. Vayidaber Adonai el Moshe ve'el Aharon lemor. Zotukat haTorah asher tziva Adonai lemor. Daber b'nei Yisrael. Vayichu einecha para aduma tmima asher ein ba mum asher lo lecha untatem ota el Elazar hakohen hotzi ota el mihutz lamachaneh v'shachat ota lefanav. Wait,
Oh, go.
am I still going?
Yeah, I don't know. Sounded good.
No, that was it. Okay.
Yashikah.
Thank you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nota b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Thank you. I love you too. So just to translate that, and because I'm going to talk about it in a second. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "This is the ritual law that the Lord has commanded. Instruct the Israelite people to bring you a red cow without blemish, in which there is no defect and on which no yoke has been laid. You shall give it to Eleazar the priest. It shall be taken outside the camp and slaughtered in his presence." Okay. Please rise. V'zot haTorah asher sa Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi yad Adonai v'yad Moshe. V'zot haTorah asher sa Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe. Lai 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 We turn in our prayer books to the blue prayer book, to page 371. This is a time in our service where we formally and officially think about those who need our special prayers for healing, who need strength to get through what they're going through. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. Tonight we are remembering and hoping they are better Rabbi Robert Orach, Nancy Baskin, Martha Brandween, Norma Cohn, Miriam Solon, Eileen High, Nancy Keller Coffey, Marcy Seligman Waite, Robert Summers, Louisa Corallo, Jessica Knight, Niall Shopper, Alex Shopper, Judith Landau, Pam Friedman, Eric Blumenfeld, Debbie Levin, Larry Boxman, Robert Goldman. Are there any other names that you would like to say tonight? We'll start over here. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion, for the health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say Amen. And together we sing the Misha Beirach prayer. Misha Beirach imotenu, Mikor HaBracha imotenu. May the source of strength will bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Beirach imotenu, Mikor HaBracha imotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Now we return to Torah to the Ark on page 374. It's Please be seated.
Sorry, I'm having trouble understanding right now.
What is
Try
that?
a little later.
We've been having that happen tonight. I don't even have Alexa. Okay.
Sorry, I'm having trouble understanding right now.
That's
Please try a
Siri.
little later.
This is Alexa. It's part of this platform. I promise you, it's Kindle. So, okay, if I could leave it. Here we go. Chukat, this week's Torah portion, is concerned with an impossible task, and it's called a chok. A chok is a commandment we do not follow, because although it is a commandment, it's not rational, moral, or logical. And this act of the high priest was put together to purify an individual who had been defiled by contact with a corpse. And the procedure was to sprinkle them with the ashes of a red heifer, which doesn't make any sense because, first of all, the priest would then be defiled by carrying this out. And secondly, because there is no red heifer. No flawless red heifer calf exists. Nothing is ever without flaw. So in Judaism, in Parshat Chukat, when the law makes no sense, we, traditional Jews, all Jews disregard it. But in our world today, humans are embracing beliefs that don't make sense, they're not logical, rational, or moral. Yet people teach and cling to these ideas. And one of these ideas is irrational hatred towards Jews, anti-Semitism. Last Saturday, I had the privilege of watching the play Leopoldstadt. Now, this play by Tom Stoppard is set in 1899. It opens with a Viennese family who are Jewish celebrating Christmas. They could be any of us today. They are highly educated. They are assimilated. One owns a factory. One's a physician. One is a professor of mathematics. There's the grandmother, the aunts, the uncles, the cousins, the little children, all of them together. We meet the wife, who's not Jewish, and her husband, who converted to Catholicism. The doctor is mostly agnostic. The professor, whose family is Jewish. But all of them are celebrating Christmas and being together. They're having a discussion and begin by talking about everything going on in their lives. How the factory owner, who's now Catholic, loves his life so much because he's been completely accepted and celebrated by Viennese society. He is included in clubs and parties and everything society has to offer. Even his wife had lunch with the wife of Emperor Franz Joseph last week. The math professor brings up the idea in the book written by Theodor Herzl about a Jewish state. But everyone considers this to be a crackpot idea. Why would we ever need such a place? Yes, there'll always be anti-Semitism, but we're safe here. Nothing will ever happen to us. We are Austrian citizens. We will never have to go back to the ghetto, Leopoldstadt. Now the play moves forward in 20-year increments. 20 years later, we see that World War I has come, and the family paid a heavy price. One of the young men was killed in the war. One has come back maimed and psychologically traumatized. They're subdued, but still, in spite of this, and all the many signs of the changing climate of nationalism and anti-Semitism, they continue their lives feeling protected and recognized. In spite of the changing circumstances, they still believe they will never be violently persecuted as Jews. Now we move ahead 20 years, and the Nazis have begun their takeover of Austria. The Austrian citizens have embraced the teachings and the hatred of the Nazis and taken it to a new level. Allegedly, they did so even more than the Germans, and they were very violent and aggressive towards the Jews of Vienna. Hitler Youth, in the number of thousands, march, destroy businesses, people are barred from work, and still, although all the signs are there, the family does not know what to do. One is engaged to a British journalist who urges them to get visas and get out. He is a protected British Christian, and he is safe, but even he knows everything's going to be terrible. The factory owner says, "No, I'm Christian, and my son is Christian, and he's going to inherit my factory, and we're protected." Several of the relatives are very old and in a wheelchair, and their middle-aged children say, "How could I leave my parents behind? How could I ever abandon my parents?" Then they wonder, could we go back to the ghetto? There's literally nowhere to go, and everyone realizes that they're trapped. And moments later, an Austrian official comes in, he confiscates their home and their belongings, and it's too late. Now it's 1953, and the war is over. And there are 3 people on the stage from the Jacobowitz-Mertz family. Rosa, who immigrated to the United States before World War I, was a psychotherapist in New York City, and she's come back to Vienna to try to recover what belonged to her family and see if anyone survived. Nathan, a grown man, survived the concentration camps and has come back to try and be a professor of mathematics at the Austrian University. And the third person is Leo, a cousin who was raised in Britain, who did escape as a child, raised by Percy, that British journalist. He is a Christian and a British citizen, and Leo has just learned of his Jewish roots that day and his connection to the family. What happened to everyone else? They were all killed, every single one of them, in the death camps. Auschwitz, Buchenwald, Dachau, Bergen-Belsen, all murdered. All the grandparents, all the aunts, all the uncles, all the children were all murdered, and only these 3 survive. When the play was over, I had so much to process and so much to think about. It's been so impactful that I've spent the last several days talking to numerous people about the play Leopoldstadt. Walking out of the theater, I felt very vulnerable, reminded that in many ways, American Jews are very much like the Viennese Jews. We're very assimilated, wealthy, educated, cultured, and feel that we too would be protected. I wondered if I would ignore signs the way the Viennese Jews ignored the signs. There are things happening in our country that are similar and scary to me. Anti-Semitism is rampant. In the US and Europe, violent acts towards Jews are at an all-time high. You don't need me to give you the list. But at that moment, I felt like I needed to flee and thought, but where would I go? And then I decided the real difference now is there's an Israel. And I found comfort in the idea that we could immigrate to Israel today, whereas then we could not. And this strengthened in that moment my devotion to Israel, to keep a strong Israel, and to preserve our Jewish homeland. However, yesterday, I was talking to my dear friend. She's 93 years old. She lives in Shrewsbury for the past 63 years. She said that she always understood that she was a minority. And she said, Gabby, I don't want to upset you, but I don't think we're ever going to be done with this problem. And ultimately, your idea isn't going to work. We can't all run to Israel. Some people really do hate us, and this will never go away. So then I asked, so what should we do? And she said, in every century, people have hated and attacked us. Anti-Semitism is always going to be something that we have to contend with. So we just have to be proud of our Judaism. And ultimately, she said, you have to be brave to be Jewish. Shabbat Shalom. In a little while, Margot will share with us some very important announcements. This is the last service in our rotational schedule of this year before Rabbi Edelman begins next week. And I wanted to take the opportunity, as I've been trying to do over the last several weeks, to thank numerous people in our synagogue. I thank Wayne Howard, all of our past presidents, the MRT board, all of the participants of committees, our educator Magda Reyes, Jordana Steinberg, Mustafa, Rick, and Rabbis Prezand and Bergson and Rabbi Orak for their help and wise counsel. I'm grateful to Alice and our choir and our accompanists Evan and Peter. And there's so many people who have made this year a really special and unique time. I don't want to go through it again, but I'm proud of our congregation and grateful for your help. And if I didn't put you on that list, I'm sorry. You're definitely on the list.
Well, you're kind of up at the top of
Oh,
the list.
thank you. Thanks. I don't know.
Like, yeah.
It's a horizontal leadership, but I'm glad. And tonight, we have Mary Beth in the congregation who has completely helped me rebuild the caring network, and people feel called and cared for and loved, and this is so important for our congregation. So, I'm grateful. I think out of adversity brings the best in people, and our congregation is just going to move from strength to strength. So, with that, you have to be careful with this not to sound like Darth Vader. I won't demonstrate. We turn to page 582. No? I got that wrong.
You're right.
586. And rise for the Elena.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakom, l'tei gedula le'otzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gohara leinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim u'mishnachavim u'modim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch.
Please be seated.
Shavunot hashamayim veyotzei haaretz, moshav yikaru b'shamayim imav, u'shchinatu zo begovei meromim, u'Eloheinu Enon, emet malkeinu hefezulato, haklatu b'torato, v'yadata hayom v'hashevota elevavecha, ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim, b'shamayim imav, v'al haaretz mitachat, Eino v'nemar, v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
Page 597. This reading is very poignant, reminds us of those who sacrificed their lives for our country and for our well-being. Read responsively. Remember our people who suffered and died so we could be free and secure. May their memory be more than a distant shadow. Remember our brothers and sisters whose sacrifice kept the dream of democracy and justice alive. May their courage be our inspiration and strength. Remember the fallen of our armed services, the victims of terror and tragedy. May the darkness of their loss not obscure the light of peace. They were in love with our land and in love with life.
The mothers and the fathers, for the children who were, for the children yet to be remembered.
Page 599. We think of our loved one whom death has recently taken from us, who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. We are remembering Leah Alexander, David Ansell, Irene Barnett, Morris Cohen, Rhoda Dimson, William Doolin Jr., Molly Golden, Francis Kaufman, Harry Marks, Gladys Needleman, Ryan Sadwith, Pearl Shagan, Beatrice K. Simon, William Swanhart Sr., Sophia Vivian Brown, Barbara White, Celia Wyman. And in the period of Shloshim, we are remembering Betty Wolf and Pearl Kligman. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for blessing. Are there any other names that you would like to remember tonight? We continue on page 598. Please rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, v'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon, u'chayei d'chol beit Israel, v'agala v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach leolam u'lamei almaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'dalal shmei dekudasha b'richu. Leila minkol birchata v'shirata, tushmechata v'nechemata, da'amiram b'alma v'yimru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Osei shalom b'mrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen.
Oh, say shalom b'mrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen.
Please be seated. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to all of us and to all Israel. And to this we say, Amen. Margot, if you could share your announcements with us.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm
Shabbat
Margot.
shalom.
Thank you. I'm Margot Hassan, and on behalf of Monmouth Reformed Temple, I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us tonight. We have some announcements for this evening. More information about the following events can be found in the weekly e-blast. Virtual Torah study is tomorrow 9 a.m. on Google Meet. On July 7th at 6 o'clock, we welcome Rabbi Renee Edelman to the Bima to lead her first service at MRT. A special catered dinner will be following. It is important that you RSVP by July 3rd if you plan to attend the dinner. Contributions to Tzedakah for the month of July will benefit the Source at Red Bank Regional High School. The Source is a school-based youth services program committed to supporting the mental health, well-being, and educational success of all students. They build public and private partnerships to ensure quality services that are effective, culturally appropriate, and responsive to the diverse changing needs of students and their communities. All Source programs are free. MRT's commitment to Tikkun Olam dovetails perfectly with the values pursued at the Source. Please consider supporting their important work. Monica and James Brewer are the matching donors. There are members of our congregation who are very sensitive to scents and fragrances. MRT strives to provide a scent-free environment in our building. MRT community asks that you avoid wearing scents of any kind when coming to our synagogue, and please inform your guests who visit with us. MRT continues to engage together in meaningful ways. We would love for more people to invest in our mission of connecting as a Jewish community. We welcome your investment of time as well as donations to help us grow. For information on joining our MRT family or making a donation, please contact Rodana Steinberg in our office or visit our website, www.monmouthreformedtemple.org. Cantor is always available as well. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Margot. Beautiful job. In a few days, we can alter that announcement.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Rabbi is available.
Right, the Rabbi and the Cantor are available, but not yet. Okay, we'll give her a little break. Our closing song can be found on page 632. This is a prayer called Ein Adir, and it's a Sephardic prayer. I'm singing it tonight in honor of Margot's heritage. Her family's from Turkey. This is from Iraq. But anyway, it's Sephardic. So, it's a fun song. I enjoy it. I hope you do too.
Ein Adir Kadonai, V'im Baruch Kevein Amram, Ein Gedolah Katorah, V'in Darshanecha Ke'Yisrael.
Top line.
Mipiel u'mipiel, Yevarach kol Yisrael. Mipiel u'mipiel, Yevarach kol Yisrael. Ein Hadur Kadonai, V'in Vatik Kevein Amram, Ein Zakah Katorah, V'in Chachamecha Ke'Yisrael.
Up to top.
Mipiel u'mipiel, Yevarach kol Yisrael. Mipiel u'mipiel, Yevarach kol Yisrael. Ein tahor Kadonai, v'in yachid kevein Amram, ein kabira katorah, v'in lamanecha ke'Yisrael. Mipiel u'mipiel, Yevarach kol Yisrael. Mipiel u'mipiel, Yevarach kol Yisrael. Ein podek Adonai, v'in tzadik kevein Amram, ein kedosha katorah, v'in tomechecha ke'Yisrael. Mipiel u'mipiel, Yevarach kol Yisrael. Mipiel u'mipiel, Yevarach kol Yisrael.
And we just have our motzi, and then we have an oneg and a labi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom. Thank you for joining us.